Hi everyone, and welcome back to Get Scared with Gracie. It's been forever since my last video, but that's just because I have been moving. I've been trying to figure out where I want to film and also finding new stories because I feel like I already did a lot of the ones that I had planned already and what I wanted to do. So also had to find new stories for you guys. I'm so excited to start doing videos again. I have another line box for you guys, for me, but there are pretty good options. I do already have two of these. I already have the black phone guy, and I already have Megan. So as long as it's neither of them, I'll be happy. I would love to get Dracula or Chucky or the guy from Get Out. I don't remember his name, but I love that movie, so I really think I just watched it recently. It's really good. I forgot how good it is, but I'm gonna try to get this open. Okay, I have to go get scissors, but let's see who we got. The box isn't like opening. I'm scared. I got Chucky! He has the little axe. I don't know if you can see that, but he's cute. Okay, I don't know if this is true or not, but I saw a TikTok or something on Instagram saying that A24, which is one of my favorite movie production companies, doing a movie on the Backrooms, like a horror movie, like a Backrooms horror movie. And I don't know if that's true because I haven't really looked into it. I probably could just look it up, but I don't know. I've been like lazy about it. Anyways, I don't know if it's true or not, but it really interests me. And like right now, like I've been watching YouTube videos and whatever, like people playing the Backrooms game. I've been like into that recently, so I wanted to do a video reading people's experiences, whether they're true or not, with Backrooms. But Reddit, I don't know why, but I literally couldn't find anything. Like some of them, like I found a couple stories, but they literally said like it's made up. Like all I found was a bunch of stupidity and arguments in the comments, and it was just not like not video worthy. But I did want to do something similar, kind of. To me it's similar, but I want to do today's video on reacting to people's stories and experiences with like the Uncanny Valley phenomenon. So if you don't know what Uncanny Valley, what that means, I'm just gonna read you the definition because it's easier than trying to explain it. The Uncanny Valley is a psychological phenomenon where humanoid objects like robots, AI, CGI, dolls that appear almost but not perfectly human-like evoke feelings of eeriness, revulsion, or fear. It describes a valley or a dip in human empathy for objects that are close to but not quite real. I'm reading on here too, and it says, theories suggest this is an evolutionary survival mechanism designed to detect threats, disease, or pathogens. So basically something that's not real that is so close to being real that it like confuses your brain. There are a few stories from this one Reddit thread titled "What's Your in Real Life Uncanny Valley Story" that I want to read to you guys. Some of them are pretty short, some of them are long, so we'll just get through some on here, and then I have a couple more threads that I saved. This first story is really short, and it's from 4 years ago. I still vividly remember going to the pound with my mother to rescue an animal, and one of the dogs had the most human-looking eyes I've ever seen. It creeped me out. I glanced for like 3 seconds, then refused to look at it again for the rest of the time. Like, I don't know if that's really could be considered Uncanny Valley feeling. Like, I don't know, I feel like that happens a lot with dogs, especially. Like, there are a lot of different breeds of dogs that have very like human looking faces. Like golden doodles are, I'm sorry, but they're so ugly. Like, some of them can be cute, but most of them are so ugly, and their eyes always look really creepy. I don't know, they have like really big eyes or something, and they always have like eyelashes and eyebrows. Like their whole, I don't know, but I don't know if that's considered like Uncanny Valley. This next story is from 4 years ago, and it's also pretty short. I had a child therapist once who either crumpled her entire face into a fake smile or went completely stone-faced, which shook me to rethink everything I told her. It was like she had an on and off switch. Smile for the child and take the information. That would be a really scary situation, especially with being your therapist, and feeling like you can't trust them completely because of the feeling of unease that they give you. And this last story that we're going to read that's from this Reddit thread is also from 4 years ago. I looked this up tonight for the sole purpose to tell this story. This is the only time I have ever posted on Reddit. I feel like sometimes they say that and like that's not true, because I feel like I've read that multiple times in these stories or these videos, and I don't know, I don't know if that's true or not. For a little background, I'm currently a delivery driver. The money is decent and I'm out of school at the moment. I enjoy doing it too. Listening to a podcast or music while working is pretty great. I had a weird interaction tonight. Most of the time, everything goes great. I leave the food, take a picture, and move on to the next. I go on my first trip for the night around 8:30 and got a late start. I had to go to a somewhat nice hotel about 15 minutes from the restaurant. The instructions were nothing unusual, just knock on the door, get the PIN number, and leave. I go up to the room and I can hear people talking due to the door being slightly cracked. It sounded almost like background noise when you watch a TV show where friends are sitting in a restaurant or a bar. As soon as I knocked, it all stopped. I finally hear a guy say, "Be right there," in a very cheerful voice. At this point, I've thought nothing of the sound, figured it was just a TV, a phone, whatever. He opens the door, and as soon as I made eye contact, my fight or flight instinct kicked in. His eyes were almost doll-like, with very forced facial movements. I shoved it down as me being stupid or paranoid, so I just said, "Here you go, man. Also, I need the pen." He looked at me as though I'd asked him something in another language. Then, in a split second, he corrected his posture, gave a big, creepy smile, and said XXXX through his smiling teeth. Legitimately did not break eye contact. Oh, I'm assuming like the X's are the numbers. I was really confused for a minute. I'm really tired. It's almost midnight. I don't know why I'm deciding to do this right now, but back to the story. I did not break eye contact or the smile the whole time I put the number in my phone. At that point, I tried to convince myself that he was stoned or something and was trying to act normal, at least for my sanity. That's what I hoped. I played it off and just said, "Thanks, man. Have a good one." And he gives me a slow head nod and backs into his room, still making eye contact and same smile. Not in a cheesy horror movie type of way, but in a way that seemed like he was pretending to know what to do. I carried on with my night, but I can't get that image out of my head. I had to look up the Uncanny Valley theory for the sole purpose of figuring out what I had felt. It was probably just an odd guy that wasn't very sociable or something, but even still, actually gave me goosebumps. To top it all off, that thing didn't even leave a tip. I don't know, that story is pretty scary, but I feel like he was probably just on drugs or something. Okay, and then I have a few more stories from another Reddit thread, and it's titled, "Has anybody ever had an uncanny valley experience? Have you seen something that looked human but you felt something wasn't right? Seen any black-eyed kids or men in black?" Those could be like considered uncanny valley, but I feel like, I don't know, I feel like that's a whole different thing. Because like how it explained it on Google, we just looked it up, and it said like CGI, AI, computer generated, like anything like technology, but or like doll like. So I guess, but I feel like that's a whole nother thing. I feel like that's a whole other like paranormal thing. I don't really feel like the Uncanny Valley is necessarily like paranormal. Like the Men in Black thing is more alien, and like the Black Eyed Kids is more like paranormal. I just feel like those wouldn't really be Uncanny Valley experiences. This story is pretty short. It's from 3 years ago. Back in the 90s, I was driving to school to pick up my kids. Now, I don't know if I believe in people having auras that others can see and so forth. There was a woman, large frame, looked about 50 something, and all around her was this dark green. The cloud was moving slightly like an oil spill. She was waiting to cross the street. Thank gosh I was at a red light, so I got a nice long look at her and her cloud. She had no expression on her face, just staring straight ahead. I have never seen anything like it before and never again 20 years later. It was quite the experience. I don't think that's really Uncanny Valley at all. Um, More spiritual for sure. Some of these stories in this thread might be just since they did mention the Men in Black and the Black Eyed Kids and stuff like that. One in the comments said, "It sounds like you saw the entity attached to her. Such a scary situation." And someone else said, "Sister just smelled really bad." Um, but yeah, it probably was more like, I don't know, if she really did see like a green fog or cloud around her, it probably was more just like an entity. Next story is from 3 years ago. I worked security at a beef processing plant. One day we had this guy about 5'8" come in for an interview with the kitchen staff. He was a little chubby, blonde hair, and had really blue eyes. He refused to break eye contact. I immediately had a sense that something was wrong. He went for the interview and everyone said that he was so charismatic and charming. They offered him the job. When he left, he maintained eye contact with me, got to the door, and shook his head. He never came back. I often wonder what kind of predator he was. What got me is that everyone except me thought he was so charming, but it was like I was looking at a different person than them. Every instinct telling me to keep an eye on this person as something is very, very wrong. Logic tells me he was just some weird guy, but my gut says he was a monster who should be kept in view at a distance. That's interesting. That is more like Uncanny Valley than the last story was. Um, but also, I don't know if that's just like a bad gut feeling. And most of the time, bad people can be very charismatic and very manipulative and put on a front. So maybe you just saw what everyone else didn't. Next story is also from 3 years ago. I grew up in a very rural area. We used to have issues with wild hogs coming into the yard at night and tearing things up. That would be terrifying. One night while I was home alone, I was 17 or 18 at the time, some hogs made their way into the yard. I came outside with a .22 rifle just to make some noise and run them off. After a few shots into a tree, they were gone. My heart nearly stopped when I heard children laughing in the direction of my shots. I went to investigate and saw figures walking through the forest near the house. They were too tall to be children, but it was clear the sound was coming from them. They were so tall and skinny, and it seemed like sometimes they would run using all fours. When I saw them, one turned toward me and took a few steps in my direction. I was so terrified, I got in my car and drove 20 miles away to a friend's house. I did not return until my parents were home from their trip. Never saw them again. That was actually like so scary. I don't like that story at all. I don't like that at all. That feels more like Skinwalker territory than like Uncanny Valley. I don't know. Or maybe I don't understand like the Uncanny Valley like definition, what it actually is, or what experiences would go under there. But I feel like that's more like Skinwalker stuff, especially like rural area, like the animals, the laughing. I don't like that. This next story is from 3 years ago, and they also give a disclaimer. I'm not sure my experience qualifies, but here it goes. So I'll read the story anyway, since I'm here. I worked in a supermarket as a cashier for several years, and one time, it was Valentine's Day to be exact, a man in his 40s came by to ask me to call someone to the flower stand. As soon as I looked him in the eyes, I immediately was terrified of him. Both of his eyes were almost all completely black. Only in the outside corners you could see a little bit of white. It was surreal. My heart was pounding and I started sweating with fear. I told him I would call my coworker. He thanked me and went away. But this was not the only time I've seen him. There were 4 other times or so, but he was always accompanied by another normal man in his 60s. Okay, the story is written like actually crazy. So if I'm having trouble reading it, it's not really my fault. He was also super cordial and nice, so was the other man. Each time I saw him, nobody around seemed to even notice his strange eyes, and I started believing in a strange way that it was only me. Until one day one of my coworkers went to assist him, and the normal man, she came back really pale, asking me if I had seen it. To this day, I wonder if he was some kind of if he has some weird, rare medical disease or something. I guess it just depends on his attitude and his personality and if he acted like a normal human or not. But they don't really specify that either. This one's scary. This one's like incredibly short, and it could also just obviously not be real because it's Reddit, but it's from 3 years ago. Twice in our marriage, while she was very angry, I witnessed my ex-wife's pupils switch to vertical slit, then go back to round. I have never mentioned it to her. That sounds more like possession than anything. But he's saying like alien. And everyone in the comments is saying that he needs to get her hair brushed and get her DNA checked and whatever. Saying she could be like a reptile person. Someone said Mark Zuckerberg. That's literally all I read. I feel like a lot of these are more like alien stories. I'll read one more from this Reddit thread. It's from 3 years ago. I was out behind our condo with my roommates to look at the full moon. It was about midnight. I remembered I looked into the courtyard and there were 2 deer there. The streetlight was behind them, so I could just see their silhouettes. I pointed them out to a friend. She admired them, then went back to the moon. I watched the deer walk away. When the one I was focused on walked away, a pair of eyes stayed in the place the deer's had been. It didn't move with the others. I kept looking at it for a moment, as it really spooked me. It was almost like a silhouette of a man, but I couldn't really tell. I went from looking at it to the moon and back and forth for about a minute or so before it started slowly walking towards me. I asked my friend if she saw that and pointed. She looked and didn't. The hairs on my neck were standing up and I could still see it, so I just walked into the condo. Everyone pretty quickly just followed suit, and then I asked, and no one else had seen it. I'm not sure what it was, but this picture really reminded me of it. And there was a picture of just like a shadowy figure with glowing eyes. Your imagination playing tricks on you, especially if you had been paying attention to a deer with their eyes glowing and then, I don't know, the moon and whatever. It's possible it was just your imagination. Okay, so this next Reddit thread that I found a couple stories in is from 1 year ago, and it's titled Uncanny People, a Strange Encounter I Had 11 years ago. So I came across this article where some people from Harvard are saying aliens might be here and disguised as humans. This got me thinking about a weird experience I had about 11 years ago that I can't shake. One day, me and my homie were walking, and we saw this woman with very unusual copper-like skin tone. It was unnaturally shiny and glossy, almost like she was mechanical or something. I couldn't even tell what ethnicity she was. She was super smiley as she walked by, and there was just something so off about her. In my head, I was thinking, yo, is she even human? My homie must have felt the same way because he turned around and she walked away. He said out loud, "Are you even real?" We both agreed she looked mechanical and not quite human. I've never seen anyone like her since, and she just disappeared around a corner. My homie remembers it too, and we still talk about how strange it was. Has anyone else had a similar experience? I'm convinced to this day that she was not of this world. Yeah. That would be more like an Uncanny Valley experience, I guess, unless you want to say like he kind of mentioned the alien people or the reptilian people, which I personally don't believe. I don't know if I believe in aliens, but I definitely don't believe in like reptilian people. I don't know, I just think that's kind of like stupid. That is kind of like unexplainable, I guess, unless they were just being rude and she just had glossy, shiny, good skin. I don't know. This next story is very short. It's from 1 year ago as well. Walking in the mall with my daughter, this tiny old couple walked by, weirdly applied heavily makeup and odd wigs. Their heads were oddly shaped. It was creepy. It felt like they were aliens trying to blend in with humans posing as geriatrics. I don't know. That story was also very poorly written. And I don't know, I feel like maybe they were just like a cute old couple. I don't know. It's kind of rude. these stories in the comments said, I think the uncanny valley effect can be more easily explained away by our history with various forms of illness, both physical and mental. I'm sure a long history of things like rabies, schizophrenia, leprosy, psychotic breaks, and syphilis makes us suspicious of anything that is recognizable as humanity but somehow off by 1 or 2 degrees in any which way. Kind of get that, but I also do think that the uncanny valley phenomenon or effect is very real. I've never personally had an experience that I can think of off the top of my head, but there have definitely been times where I'm like, this just seems really off, but usually it's just because the person or thing is really scaring me in a different kind of way, but I do think that it's a very real thing, and I do think that we do, as humans, have discernment to be able to tell if something is off with a situation or a person or a being, anything like that. And someone also put in the comments under the old people story, some people have been in horrific accidents and become disfigured to the point they can't go out in public. Some of those have had pelvic surgery or facial prosthetics that might pass from a distance, but up close they seem off, which is definitely what I was more getting to. Like, I feel like that's kind of rude, especially if they're old. Like, a lot of people nowadays get plastic surgery, or I don't feel like really Botox changes your face, but also this could be applied to that other story we read, with the DoorDash guy, who was like really creepy and smiley, and maybe he just looked funny because of all of his surgeries, his plastic surgery, or like changes that he made to his face, facial prosthetics, whatever. Like, everybody right now is saying that Jim Carrey is not really Jim Carrey, which I don't even want to really get into all of that because there's a lot of conspiracy theory with that and like cloning people and all that. But really, I think that he did just get a lot of facial work done because he is getting older. He's dating a younger woman. Like, I don't know. I just feel like even if you say that you're never going to get anything done, because I saw a bunch of people, which I could never find the clip of him saying that he would never get facial work done, but there was a lot of people on TikTok or Instagram, whatever social media, saying that he would have never gotten facial work done because his facial movements and the way that he's able to act and like change his face is why he is famous, and he would never change anything about that. I never saw him say that, but people were saying that he did, and that it's not really Jim Carrey. But even if he were to say that years ago, that doesn't mean that now he doesn't feel comfortable how he looks and he's not as confident as he was. Like, maybe he just wanted to get facial work done, and I feel like everybody's being really rude commenting on it and saying that's not really him, that his eye shape completely changed. He probably just got an eye lift. Those are a thing. And like, a lot of people are getting the upper left surgery right now where they like take their take part of your eyelid off so that it's not like, a lot of people with like hooded eyes or whatever, like, or if you just have a lot of extra skin on your face that you don't want there, people are getting it removed and all of that. So a lot of people are getting a lot of work done right now, and I feel like that also doesn't help with the uncanny valley effect because you do kind of look off or different. Like, he did really look a lot different. I'm not saying he didn't look a lot different, and his eye shape was different, and he probably just got a lot of work done. And I think that, especially in stories like that, that's probably the case. There was a train going by just now, so sorry if you can hear that. Yeah, I don't know if you heard that, but it just went off again. Anyways, I think I'm gonna end the video there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed these stories. I know some of them weren't really, they were more alien or just not really uncanny valley, but it's okay. I feel like they were very interesting to read, and I'm trying to get better about my reactions because somebody did comment that I have a very monotone voice and that I don't react very well. So I'm trying to work on that. It's also just kind of hard because I am like reacting to these by myself. Like I don't have an audience and I don't have like people to have a conversation about the stories with. So there's only so much I can say about the stories without rereading the stories completely. So yeah, and also if some of the stories are boring, I'm sorry. Sometimes I do cut them out if they're really boring, but I don't read through these before I do the video because I want to give like an honest like reaction, even if it's not that good. Anyways, I think I'm gonna end it there. I hope you guys like this video, and sorry that I haven't been posting that much. I'm gonna start posting more. But yeah, if you guys like this video, make sure you subscribe and come back for more. Bye guys.